Hey guys. All right. So we have another live today, and the topic for today is how to turn meaningless pain into passion. So my objective for this video is to show you a simple trick that doesn't come from the emotional releasing technique. It's coming from the mind. It's actually working with logic and with abstraction. And you can use this tool of the mind, to turn even apathy and hopelessness and despair and this really low emotion coming from the core emotion of apathy into something nice, into something amazing, basically into passion. It might sound like that's a bit, like a too big of a challenge, like that's too much that I decided to give to you, but just stay with me and make a decision for yourself in the end. So I want to start with a couple of stories, because I think stories are a really good way to demonstrate that the tool works, right? Like that's something that exists and makes sense, can be applicable in practice. I used to play guitar since my age of 6, and I hated that. I really did not like that, despite the teachers and my parents telling me that I have talent. Ever since my age of something like 7 to 14, I was forced to play guitar mostly. And I mean, there were moments and flashes where it would feel nice, where I would actually enjoy the music, but I did not really enjoy it. It was very similar to my school experience, where I was doing that because I had to do that. Because I had to do that, I had a resistance to that. And on top of that resistance, because of course I didn't practice, and even though I had talent, I didn't practice. My guitar playing and performance was mostly shit. So there were the school performances and concerts every few months, and every time there was a performance where I was playing it, I would feel terrible, because I was feeling that I'm unprepared. I was anxious and fearful. Because of this, not only my technical performance was low, but also my emotional state was low, which meant that I made even more mistakes. And knowing that I'm making mistakes, looking at my teacher and seeing his face, like, I could see that he's in suffering, that I could see my parents and I could see that they are in suffering. And before the concerts, they would even say that in a way, that they are wishing me good luck and they're praying that it's going to work and then it's going to be nice. It went like this until my age of 14. I was playing maybe 1 hour in 2 weeks. And I found this highly painful and highly suffering. I mean, it doesn't compare with anything that many guys today are going through, right? When it comes to relationships, work, and suffering because of health issues and all this stuff. But I'm using this to illustrate how extreme it can be. Okay. So it was unpleasant and it was painful, and I found like I had a lot of negative emotion connected with that. When I was 14, I met a guy in high school, and this guy showed me what is possible with guitar. Long story short, I invited him over to my place because he shared with me that some time ago he was one of the top guitar performers in Slovakia and Czech Republic when he was 13. So I'm like, okay, so just come over and show me what's possible, show me how you can play. He played for a while, and when I heard him how he played, I was blown away. He was playing super fast, he was playing incredibly technically well, and he was enjoying it. And when my mom was walking by, and I remember she was carrying some cakes or something, and she almost dropped it to the ground, because that's how mind blowing this guy was. I had never seen anything like that. And when he was finished, he took the guitar, he put it behind his neck, and he was playing the same thing behind his neck. And I'm like what the fuck? Like, this is just like, it was amazing, mind blowing, but at that point it just became absurd and ridiculous. And I remember that in that moment, I made the decision, you know what? I can do this. I can do this, and I'm going to do this. And I made a decision that was coming from deep inside, that I'm going to learn how to play guitar just like this guy, whatever it takes. I came to my teacher, I shared this with him. He was like, okay, so you have this like overly motivation for a short period of time. The same with my parents, but I sticked with it. And for the next 3 years, I was playing guitar every single day for 3 hours, without exception. The weekends or the weekdays, every day for 3 hours. And the interesting thing is that despite playing three or six or 10 times as much as I was playing before, there was no suffering. I did experience pain, physical pain. I had to sacrifice some things, but I didn't feel that I'm giving up something. I felt that I'm gaining. I was focused on how much my technique is improving, how much my style is improving, how much I can feel more. Then I get concerts and people were giving me applause. My teacher was blown away. My parents were blown away. People were like, my classmates were blown away. And it's like, what the hell happened with this guy? And it felt nice. And I'm saying this because something changed. And what changed is the meaning of the pain that was behind playing guitar. Initially, I was playing guitar because I had to. I was playing guitar because there was no choice. I was playing guitar because it was some kind of obligation and I didn't understand it in my age of 9, right? Just like you don't understand why you have to go to school. Well, you're 9, you just have to take some things, right? You don't question why. I mean, you can question them, but even your parents sometimes can't give you the answers why you have to go to school, you know? So I was believing that that's just the way it is. I have to do that. And from the moment I made a decision that I'm going to be the best or I'm going to be as good as this guy, suddenly the suffering disappeared completely. And not only I managed to become one of the top classical guitar players in the country in that time, like within top 20, top 30, the learnings and the experiences and the concerts and the amazing applause and the amazing emotional experiences I had with guitar playing stayed with me, and they are with me for the rest of my life. Now, I find this is amazing because the reason why I put in the name of this video, Lessons from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, is because it is really the meaning behind the experience that changes the experience. I said a very simple story from my personal life, but you can see how this changes even on much bigger scale experiences. For instance, Viktor Frankl in his book uses one example where there is a man whose wife passed away, and he started to feel very lonely, and in a way he was alone in his life, right? Like he was with his wife for decades, and now she passed away. And he was feeling very heavy, and he was feeling like it's not really fair, and the world and fate is unfair towards him, and it's painful. And he explained what the doctor did with him, what the therapist did with him. He asked him the questions that led him to understand what I just said, right? Like that he felt that there is this unfairness, this injustice that's coming from the world. And then he asked him if he loves his woman, if he loved his woman, his wife. And he said yes. So he said, would you do anything for her? He said, yes, of course. I would do absolutely anything for her. I love her so much still. So if you died first, well, before that, he was like, so she passed away and now you have to deal with the pain, right? Yes. If she would die first, if you would die first, then she would have to deal with that pain, right? And he said, yes. So in a way, would you do this for her to be the one who lasts longer in a way, so that you will be the one who will bear the pain and she could have experienced a peaceful passing away with you on her side? And he went into tears and he said yes. So suddenly all this pain and suffering that he was experiencing before that had no meaning whatsoever, he was just feeling that life is unfair to him, suddenly turned into something else, because suddenly his pain and his suffering had a whole different meaning. And in a way, it became worth it, right? My experience, like my pain of like doing anything for 3 hours a day for 3 weeks, just became worth it. I don't have to talk about my examples. Yesterday, I was watching with my girlfriend videos from AGT, America's Got Talent. There was this one amazing guy who got a golden buzzer, and he shared his experience. He came out with a saxophone, and they asked him how come that you're playing saxophone? Why did you start playing saxophone? And he said, well, when I was a child, I was a little bit weird. He had some kind of flaw on his vocal cords, so his voice was a little bit different. His body posture, his body structure was a little bit different also from the other people, and the guys were laughing at him. And they were bullying him really, really heavily. And he was experiencing lack of feeling of connection with his peer group, lack of sense of belonging. He was feeling anxious. He was feeling afraid to go into school to experience the same thing over and over again. And eventually he was feeling apathy, he was feeling hopelessness and despair. He just stayed at home. This got even worse, to the point where he started to feel suicidal thoughts. Like, what's the point of all this? Why would I even keep trying when every time I go out and I go with my guys, this is what I get to experience? And it went like this to the point where when he grabbed the saxophone and he started to play saxophone. And in a way, he used saxophone. He basically took all his frustration and he poured it into, I'm going to be better at this. I suck at this. I'm going to be better at this. In a way, he was fighting with saxophone against all the negative and against all these emotions. And I'm not sure if he said this or if it was just the vibe that I was getting from him. It's surely something that all the judges and all the guys who were giving him feedback told him. You can prove to all of those guys who were ever bullying you that you overcome that they literally did nothing to you. That not only they did nothing to you, you can be grateful for them. Because if you hadn't had that motivation to play saxophone that much, you wouldn't be who you are today. And the world would not get to experience the delight of seeing you playing saxophone with the passion that you have. And I think this is truly, truly amazing. There's a lot of talk and articles and videos, especially about millennials, that we want to find passion, we want to find meaning, we want to have impact, we want to be authentic to ourselves, and we want to find life's true purpose, life's true calling, and so on. And they want to make it pleasurable, right? They want to make it nice, they want to make it smooth, and they imagine it almost. And it's not just millennials. I mean, I do this, and I'm sure my parents did this at some stage. We all do this. It's just that there are more tendencies across generations. The tendencies are different across generations, and it's tempting to idealize this, right? That you will figure it out with your mind, and it's going to click, and it's going to be nice, and it's going to be only nice. But the purpose that clicks the best and that is only unique for you and for no one else than you is coming from the experiences that only you had, that no one else had. And these experiences are probably the past experiences that no one else would be willing to go through. And these experiences that you had, that no one else would be willing to go through, are your unique opportunities for learning. Your unique opportunities where you can take them, and if you infuse them with the right meaning, why you had these experiences, then you can take these experiences, build an amazing life for yourself while helping others, right? For instance, I have a friend who had terrible financial experiences in his family, and he lost a lot of money, his family lost a lot of money, and he could have been bitter for his entire life. This guy today he runs a hedge fund in his super young age, in his early 30s, and he's managing his clients' finances in a way that's with integrity, that's responsible, and he's passionate about it, and he has an amazing results. Another example of this is Tony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins, they call him the father of coaching. This guy had outrageous experiences as a child in terms of how much pain and suffering that he had to go through. But he said, if I had to experience this and I had to work through that and overcome that, then I know how I can help other people who don't have it that bad, but have it still bad, and they don't know how to deal with that. And I think the cherry on top and the crown of all of these experiences is the Viktor Frankl itself, a guy who was taken into the concentration camp, and like during the World War II, his entire family died in concentration camps. He was starving, he was undernourished, he was living in extreme conditions with extreme amount of people packed in one place. He saw his friends being shot, being murdered, being buried, and he kept going for, I don't remember how many years, but for many, many years. And what he discovered is that what helped him to do this, to overcome this, is that when he was going through the pain, he didn't imagine how much it sucks, how much it's difficult, and how much pain it is. I mean, of course, he experienced that, right? But he could choose what to focus on, and what he focused on was the visualization of what it's going to feel like when he's going to give lectures at the university about his experiences that he has. what it's going to feel like when he's going to share this with his wife, and she's going to see the courage, and she's going to see the honor and determination to live life and to be with her even despite what happened. And basically he was writing his book. He was writing his book in the concentration camp and putting the ideas together about how a man can go through the most difficult of life circumstances and how to make it. This guy lived until his I think late 80s or 90s, which, given the amount of distress and malnutrition that he's experienced, is nuts. Is nuts, and it's extremely inspiring. And what I truly believe is that in a way of unique individuality, he was special, just like Tony Robbins, just like Oprah Winfrey, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger and the stuff that he had to overcome. But in a general way, he's not special at all. And in the same way, you're not special at all. We are all, in this sense, exactly the same, because we all have this capacity and this possibility to make these shifts and make these changes. All you need to do is to find the right meaning, to find the right angle of the right viewpoint on your pain and your suffering, and you can turn it into passion. Okay? So that was the life today. If you want to talk about this more deeply and you want to look how you can look at your own pain and suffering that happened and that you want to transform, then what I can do for you is to give you a free session where we can talk about this. All you need to do is to book it at buymehours.com/book now. You will pick the time that works for you the best, the date that works for you the best. We're going to look at what you're dealing with now, what is the root cause of what you're dealing with now. And if I were to help you how to transform this, I will show you step-by-step process of how that would look like. Okay? So if that's you want to have a look at this, go to buymehours.com/book now. The reason why I'm doing this is, first, I like to help people. I like to help guys overcome the stuff that I had to deal with and I had to face first. And the second, sometimes guys like the solutions that I propose to them. And in that case, I make an offer. And if we like each other and if we are a good fit, we can start a cooperation. Okay? So if you want to check this out and you want to explore what's possible for you, go to buymehours.com/book now and book the session today. And I'm going to speak to you soon. Bye-bye.